The Winchesters took on their fair share of big bads over 15 seasons of badass demon slaying, but who's the best of these wicked rogues? I don't think any fan wanted the series to end, but let's face it, God was a pretty cool villain to end the show with, right?
I'm canceling your show.
Watching that conflict play out got me thinking of all the headline villains over the show's run. What makes one titular villain better than all the rest? Well, this list has the answer to that, and so much more. So grab a seat in the Metallicar for this epic ride through Supernatural's biggest villains. Number 1. Crowley. Crowley is the definition of a silver-tongued devil, which, yes, I get is ironic given the fact he's actually a demon. Regardless, his impact on the show was always most notable when he's misleading the Winchesters or playing politics in hell. Crowley was always towing the line between the main villain and anti-hero. I placed him at the bottom of the list because Crowley never showed an extraordinary knack for power. Yes, he was king of hell for a time, but he didn't do much with it. While a large portion of the fan base may consider him underrated here, I feel Crowley is a pump-up villain. He's always setting up more significant and worse threats throughout his time on the show. When he had the spotlight, it wasn't that exciting. Number 2. Soulless Sam. Sam goes through a lot during his life, or should I say lives. The dude's been resurrected and brought back more ways than seem humanly possible. The most notorious of these second chances came when Sam's body remains outside the cage Lucifer is trapped in, but his soul is in the cage. We now refer to this phase in Sam's life as Soulless Sam, or as I like to call it, the season Sam acted like a sociopath. Watching him go through the motions and act with no remorse is a terrifying thing to see. Just look at what he tried to do to Bobby, for crying out loud. Bobby's been through enough, Sam. Let him be. Still, he's essentially human at the end of the day, which made him scary but not threatening humanity's fate. Number 3. Demon Dean. Hey, Dean, you want this mark of Cain? Just warning you, it's super bad and actually turned Lucifer into the guy we know today. Sure, Cain. I think I will take that mark. If it means saving the world, what's the worst that could happen? That's how I like to remember the conversation going, because it was nearly that stupid in the show. Demon Dean is our favorite hunter with no self-control. His time as a Knight of Hell is spent torturing and brutally beating any obstacle in his path to the natural order. Of course, the cure for his demonization is simple enough. Even then, the Mark of Cain led to a much bigger entry on this list. So while Demon Dean isn't the worst, his impact on the show was felt. Number 4. Rowena. Rowena's path through the supernatural storyline is marked with redemption. She burst onto the scene as a major villain in season 10, which helped showcase her powers. After all, following Lucifer's betrayal, she comes back again and again and again and again. Her connection to the darkness makes her a huge threat to the Winchesters, but she eventually allies with them. However, there's also the time she let the alternate reality version of Michael possess her and helps him begin his plan to destroy the world. Yeah, not the best look, and definitely one of the worst things she's done. At the end of the day, she is only a witch, which means she could be defeated once she dropped her resurrection seal. Now she's chillin' as the new Queen of Hell and thriving. Number 5. Abaddon. Abaddon only existed to make the first Blade and Mark of Cain plot device matter in the storyline. Her civil war to control Hell kept things interesting, and she was definitely more potent than Crowley. She just feels bland compared to some of the other big bads the show managed to make. Her spree around the world collecting souls for her army was memorable, but again, did that matter in the grand scheme of things? We're not feeling the impact of her rampage seasons down the line, and I think that shows that she didn't amount to a lot of substance for all her power as a Knight of Hell. I like to think of Abaddon as a Milky Way. While other better villains on this list are Snickers, they're just more satisfying. Number 6. Azazel. Gosh, remember when Azazel was the worst thing to ever happen to Dean and Sam? It's been more than a decade since this Prince of Hell made his mark on the show. In hindsight, Azazel was more of a baby's first demon type of antagonist. At the time, he felt like a huge threat, but was he actually? While we'll never forgive the yellow-eyed demon for what he did to Mary Winchester, Azazel's plan for opening the gates of hell was paltry compared to the moves made by villains in the later seasons. His power tested our protagonist, but he was defeated by the cult. In the demon hierarchy, that makes him pretty weak. Even Crowley went out in a much cooler way than that. I mean, come on, guys. Number 7. Dick Roman. The Leviathans felt like the first real threat to our main character since the end of Season 5 when they locked Lucifer in a cage. Dick Roman, being the leader of this group of immortal, primordial monsters, makes him one of the most notable bad guys in the series. Why he chooses to become a billionaire businessman, I am sure I don't know. It wouldn't have been my first choice. As a member of the Old Ones, Dick is immune to most tools the team uses to slay monsters. He even shrugs off borax like it's nothing. Only one specific weapon was even able to defeat Dick, and it took way too much effort to get it. On top of that, Castiel and Sam are tossed into purgatory after defeating Dick Roman. In even the afterlife, he manages to screw them over. Number 8. Castiel. Did I have to put Castiel on this list? No. But did I want to put him on this list? Yes. Look, guys, he opened up purgatory and absorbed those souls. No matter how you spin it, the guy did a bad thing and was the secret villain of Season 6. Nothing will change that, and at least he earned a higher spot on this list, right? When Castiel was full of purgatory souls, he essentially became a version of God, while the real God was pretending to be an author. His role as the series' main villain was short-lived, but at the time, he was more powerful than any archangel in the show. He was also the reason Dick Roman was even a threat to begin with, so that's another thing. See, he was a super powerful bad guy, even if it was for just a little bit of time. Number 9. Lilith. So apparently, Lilith is the first real demon? I can't keep track of this anymore. It feels like every person on this list claims to be the first demon. Anyway, in my book, Lilith is the real OG demon and still one of the greatest threats the Winchester brothers have ever faced. It took over 13 seasons of the show to confidently finish her off. I don't care what you say, Lilith is as badass as the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. In her original run on the show, she manages to complete her evil plan and toy with our heroes. She's more cunning than most of the demons we see, and it shows. Heck, she lets Sam defeat her because she's the last seal. In the hierarchy, she's only outranked by Lucifer himself. Yeah, it's safe to say she's pretty incredible. Number 10. Raphael. Is it just me? Or were there way too many villains in Season 6? Raphael is the fourth one we've talked about, and I think the last one we'll mention. His goal and misdeeds were direct and tangible. From a viewer standpoint, Raphael's plan made sense. He is Michael's avenger and just wants to see the apocalypse fulfilled, hence why he needed the souls from purgatory. Of the archangels, Raphael tends to be the most traditional in his worldview. He and Cast were going after the same thing, the power to become God, and he would have been an even more significant threat if he succeeded. It takes Castiel powered up with the souls of purgatory to defeat him. Remember, not even a Leviathan can defeat an archangel. Number 11. Metatron. For some, it might feel like we've overranked Metatron here. I did just place him above an archangel, but I'm considering Metatron at his highest power. In Season 8, he gets Castiel to help him bring every angel down to Earth through the angel tablet. He then ascends to heaven to begin ruling it as a god. In all the seasons of the show, many antagonists attempt to reach this sort of power. While Metatron holds the angel tablet, he actually manages to do it. He even destroys Dean while Dean is under the control of the Mark of Cain. He may seem like some unassuming pencil pusher on the surface, still, with the archangels away, he strikes at the most opportune time. Number 12. Lucifer. If we had to include a Lucifer counter at the bottom of the screen, we'd be in double digits at this point. You can't talk about most of the people on this list without mentioning the devil himself. He's an archangel and holds all those powers while also ruling over hell for a time. The guy quite literally created all the demons we're talking about here. I don't know about you, but I think that makes him super powerful. It also turns out he's Chuck's favorite archangel. He intends for Lucifer to help reset the universe and finish what God started. Lucky for us, Michael helps ensure the exact opposite happens, and his powers go to Jack. Regardless, he's even in the final season because of the threat he turns out to be towards Dean and Sam. Number 13. Alternate Michael. Michael's alternate reality version is all the original version's power, with a twisted outlook on life. When Dean is forced to cooperate with him, every fan knew that wouldn't end well. In fact, it's the second foolish decision we've tallied for Dean on this list. The point is, Michael, as some fans call him, had enough staying power to become a massive threat through two of the most significant seasons. Of the archangels, he's clearly the strongest. All of that doesn't even take into account account the fact the Apocalypse world is his playground. In that world, he conquered everything and was the final victor. He's so strong that he attempts to erase all the realities because he sees them as failures. The crazy part is that he's more than strong enough to do it. Well, if Jack didn't erase his essence from existence, that is. Number 14. God. God spent the majority of this series running around pretending to be a guy named Chuck.
Chuck? There you go.
If he wanted to end up as number 1 on this list, he would have taken his role more seriously early on. However, at the end of the day, he is God, which means we can't ignore that he's all-powerful and supernatural. Not even the particular gun he makes for the Winchesters ends up doing anything against him. In a snap, God unleashes all the monsters ever seen in the show upon the world. He was toying with our heroes, and it takes a miracle to defeat him. The entire series is a game he's playing with Sam and Dean. Once they fail to interest him, he decides to hit the restart button like a middle schooler raging on Call of Duty. Despite all of this, there's one slightly more powerful ancient power in the series. Number 15. Amara, the Darkness. Amara, or the Darkness, is the titular force the entire series is focused on destroying. She's quite literally the darkness that stretches out across the land. Heck, Amara is so evil that initially, Lucifer is tasked with concealing her in the mark. He then lets one of his more powerful demons do that for him. She's literally related to God, and the two coexist on the same power level. The real difference is that it takes the darkness to help God enact his final plan. Some may argue that she's a part of God's larger plan and sealed away by him initially. That, to me, shows how much of a threat she is. Chuck needs her, and at the same time, he can't fully control her. Even Jack says in the end that she's there deep inside him, still existing.
All right, well, this was enlightening. Let's hit the road, huh?
Demons, archangels, witches, and God. Boy, that was a different kind of list. Do you agree with these rankings? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for more supernatural videos. The show may be over, but there's always more mythology to explore.